What's up, everybody? All you savages, hello, hello. Again, my chat is down, so I'm tuning in from my cell phone. So I'm catching up all the people saying hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in live.
Someone said tonight we bathe in Newland oil.
You couldn't be
Indeed.
further
Yeah.
from the truth with that one right there. So, but thank you guys, everybody, for joining us live.
I loved it.
Got the awesome professor, the Matt professor here, Gordon himself. Thank you so much for joining us and being live with us tonight.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Yes. I know you love going live in front of a crowd that you cannot see. It's always a
Yes,
good
I
feeling,
know.
right?
I am terrified. It's probably showing quite well, so we're good. We're good.
Tim, what's up, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
Good. That's good to hear.
Was that pretty good, like dramatic? I'm good. Or
Yeah.
should we try it again? Ask again.
Hey, Tim, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. Now let's go with the first one.
No, yeah.
I'm good. How are you guys?
We'll do
Scrap
that.
Cool, guys. Well, we decided to start this off. We have a update that was posted a couple of days ago on the Kickstarter. We still do updates on that for anybody that did back the Kickstarter. So I can bring that up actually real quick over here, and we can go over that.
Poof. And there it is.
Fulfillment and pre-order updates. So just a quick recap that has been 464 days since the Kickstarter. Fulfillments as far as the graphic novel, the Cypher coin and Dwarf coin sets. Anybody that got those through the Kickstarter, that was fulfilled last year, 2023. And then with 2024, we have our Wave 1 Lemurian Wave. So we got our lizards this year, moving right along there. Wave 2, Humans and Jaeger, is in production. We have the pre-order open on the website, savagecrucible.com. That pre-order is open until August 16th. We cannot combine orders with people that bought stuff during the Kickstarter, so that will be shipped separately. And probably at a separate time too, if I believe, because Kickstarter orders will be the first to be shipped out for Wave 2. So Wave 2 will be shipping probably in the fourth quarter of this year. So we're super excited with that. That's right around the corner for us. Wave 3, Paranoids and Harbinger, that will be fulfilled in 2025. ETAs for that will be kind of as we get closer with Wave 2. And the STL for the Throne, for the Harbinger, that will be closer when Wave 3 is in production. We'll probably be making that file available for everyone, which Lee's working diligently on. So Wave 1, ankles and feet replacement piece. We've talked about this previously in other shows. There is a replacement piece that we're working on getting to all you guys out there. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be updating everybody as soon as we have a little more information from the factory and how we'll be going forward, getting those out to you guys. So be patient with that one for us. As far as communication goes, like I said, anybody that backed the Kickstarter, we still will be doing updates probably all the way until Wave 3, until we're pretty much done with what was in the Kickstarter. So definitely stay up to date with updates on Kickstarter. Our website is offering posts and stuff, so you can stay updated with that. And you can also check things that, we haven't done yet. So concept art and things of that matter. Let's see here, moving along. Folks that are interested in receiving news and all that, you can sign up for the email on the website. That way you get updated as well through the website whenever we have things going up for pre-order or for sale. If you are interested in any of the artists and creators, you can follow us on our Facebook and our buy, trade, and sell group, where you can post things for sale, revolving around Savage Crucible. So you got cards to trade, figures you want to trade or sell. You can definitely post them on there. You can follow us on Instagram as well. We got some awesome photography that goes on there, uh, and an awesome crew that does photography for us. Thank you guys for all the content that you provide. Face-to-face and discussions, definitely here on the YouTube channel. We love getting on here and talking with you guys, answering comments and all that stuff. And then there's also our Saturday morning that Tim and I are doing as well for the My Action Figure Customs Creators Crucible. So we'll be trying to put that out on Saturdays as much as we can. Might be a different day here and there, but we got something special coming for you next week, so.
Yeah, let's just ask them now. Who, like, for everybody that's watching, you guys want to do it live? Would you rather do it, during the week sometime at night, or we can try for Saturday morning if you guys like that as well? So just let us know in the comments. We read them. So
yes, of course. So with those updates being done, actually one last update, everybody in the Dallas, Texas area, Savage Crucible is there, at the convention. I don't recall what the convention was called. Tim, do you remember, or Gordon? No, not retro, but there is a convention in Dallas going on right now this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday. So if you're in that area, definitely swing on through, say hello, pick up some figures. We got
homework still.
Yeah, right. I was so eager to get on here. I was eager to make sure.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll have let's see, Rob Guillermo, I believe, is there, and also who else is there?
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. So.
Matthew Matson said Retro Expo.
Retro Expo. Thank you. See, I knew I was like.
I can see
retro. I was like, RetroCon is the South Carolina. I was like, I don't want to mix it up. So yeah, definitely swing by there, guys, if you're in the area. So, with that being the last update, let's get into it, Gordon. Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, tell us a little bit about we've already kind of had an episode where you talked about it, but give us a cliff note version of, how you met Rob, how you got into the 3D stuff. Give us a quick recap.
Okay. 3D stuff was like magic when I first heard about it. I was working on paper stuff, printing paper, folding it, creating diodes and stuff like that. I didn't even know about foam, so I was like making stuff with real mini bricks and stuff. It was horribly labor intensive, so I didn't really go anywhere with it. And then 3D printing started hitting the mainstream, and it was just that like incredible. So that Kryptonian LifePod I built in like a free online software, and then I found Shapeways and I priced it out, and it was hundreds of dollars. So I was like, nope, put it aside, never even looked at it again. Wanted to do a little while after that, I wanted to do an Asajj Ventress custom. So I bought an STL file off of Etsy. And when I got the file, it was a cosplay prop. It was huge. So I had to scale it down. But the software I used to build the LifePod, I couldn't import the STL without buying the actual proper Pro. So I had to go to Blender, and then I had to scale it down. And then that was a little more affordable. And that when it became affordable, that's when it started getting attractive. So then I started looking into things I could modify. Soon after that, I got a different program, upgraded my software. I actually built my own lightsabers. I started doing that a little bit. And just through conversations on message boards and stuff like that, Rob's phone number was handed off. I called him very over eagerly and awkward, I'm sure it was, but got to talking, and we were like right on the same page. Like we were thinking, let's do supplementary stuff for lines that exist. So we were thinking, if you're playing a video game, you can upgrade your gear, you get new unlockables, you can go to the character page and you can swap in and out gear. So we were thinking about stuff like that. So I started doing belt pouches for action figure lines. We started doing shields. That was like my big thing, because I built a whole bunch of templates, and then I would go into Blender and I'd start modifying those, and it just kind of grew from there. Different people came on board. Rubus was supplying fantastic artwork to work off of from concepts, and just, you guys know the rest of the story. It just spun out from there.
Touch up a little bit on that, Gordon. When you were on, when you got on Blender, was that pretty new to you, or were you pretty familiar with it?
Not
How
at
was
all.
that as far as?
Blender is an amazing piece of software. You can do pretty much anything. But as soon as you turn it on, you are overwhelmed by the entire interface. Like, any industry in entertainment could use Blender, I'm sure. You could do anything you want with it. 2D, 3D, animation, sculpture, whatever. But it took me a long time to figure out how to do just the basic stuff.
Gotcha.
It wasn't intuitive to me at all because I don't have that much experience. So I started asking around, and it turned out that the software that's kind of industry standard was ZBrush. So I got the free kind of bare bones version, started experimenting with that, and as things got more and more involved, and I was thinking, I need to invest some money into this if I'm going to do this at all. So I ended up getting like the upgraded version of it, and it's been ZBrush ever since. But recent projects have kind of brought me into like an animation type of pursuit. So I've kind of swung back around to Blender for that, just for
Right.
animating those things. But I'm pretty much in ZBrush now for sculpture and SketchUp. I use SketchUp a lot. SketchUp is an architecture software, if I'm not mistaken. So you can control specific depths and line lengths and stuff like that. And I'm not an intuitive sculptor, so I build everything in there first so I can decide on height and width and everything, like down to the fraction of a millimeter, and then I bring it into ZBrush and I bend it how I need it, or I add texture.
Gotcha.
Probably
So as
not the
far as
standard workflow for
mhm.
far more talented sculptors. Like, it's a broken, disjointed path, but it works for me.
Right. So anybody that would be interested, kind of getting into it, not really knowing about it, it sounds like Blender is not too beginner friendly from what I kind of picked up from what you were saying. Or do you think it is?
It's free, so yeah, that's very beginner friendly.
Hmm.
If you have some time to invest in YouTube tutorials, because there's no shortage of those out there for beginners, intermediate, and masters, um, you can figure out what you need to do if you invest the time into it. I mean, and Blender's a good place to start because it is free. You just have to make sure
Right.
that your computer, because it's very powerful, you need to make sure that you meet the requirements, right?
Gotcha. Yep.
And then from there, you can decide if that's what you want to do. Then you can pursue other things. I would imagine that's a good way to get your feet in the water.
Cool. And I see in the comments too, I think there's a couple of people saying, oh, Walking Morgie says grinder, Tinder, blender, it's all the same, right? I think it's a little different there. But it's cool that you mentioned that, Gordon, because I loved your pieces that you had on MAFC when that was live. And
Thank
we
you.
actually had a couple of pieces here that we can show off. So I think it was great what you were doing because you said, you were doing those pouches. So I always liked your little accessories that you had for
This
figures,
is,
for those
I
figures.
think
So.
this is probably the first thing I ever did for MAFC.
Hmm. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. I actually still have a couple of these unpainted.
Yeah, so do I. But the one that I painted, I absolutely loved
Hmm.
painting. Man, that
Yeah,
was really fun.
that actually was one of the first pieces I painted when I was getting into, painting, for figures and all that. So it was a joy to it was very challenging. I definitely must say that it wasn't a very easy one for a beginner.
Thanks, Steve. Amazing. So he just said he's stopping in to say hi. Busy week.
Awesome. Thank
Thanks
you.
for stopping in.
Awesome looking pouches. Nikki says favorite piece of classic. Let's move along here. And you said too, Rubus provided some artwork. So this is
This
another
sword,
one that I really like.
this one has a story to go with it. So if
There's a few
anybody,
pieces I have here that you have a story for.
yeah, and I do have a tendency to talk, so shut me down at any point in time.
No.
Never.
This is why I brought him up.
Yeah.
This is one of 4 swords. Rubus did all. I think there was a dragon, a barbarian, the evil, and then the heroic sword.
Heroic. Yeah.
And this was the blade on this was the one that I was fearing the most. So I wanted to do it first so I could push it aside and then I could move on to the others because I had plans for the others. I knew how to tackle them, but I'd never done anything like this before at the time. And I actually reached out to Arlen because Arlen, prolific sculptor,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like I was bothering him because I never really spoke to him before. And I let him know what my workflow was, like SketchUp to ZBrush. And I said, I want to start. I want to stop doing SketchUp. I want to get into ZBrush. I want to get better at the trade. Can you just, in one or two sentences, can you tell me how you'd approach that? And he did. And he just like shared it briefly, but then he also shared, I work in SketchUp too. Like my old job, I did work in SketchUp, and there's nothing wrong with it. Do what works for you. And hearing that from somebody in his position was a good moment. It was a really cool moment. So I built it in SketchUp, then I moved out into ZBrush. The cool thing about the story though is like 6-7 months later, without ever being contacted again, he actually messaged me again and asked me how it turned out. So that was really cool of him to follow up on that.
Nice, cool story. We got Walker saying he really likes that sword. So yeah, it's a very nice piece, and definitely anybody that hasn't checked it out, because I only brought a couple pictures up for this show. If you go to mikesfigurecustoms.com, we got the vault there, and you can actually go and check out all the artists that worked on MAFC. All their stuff is in the vault there, so you can go check out that some awesome stuff. So, but moving right along with the cool story for items you have. What about this one here?
This is an amalgamation of a bunch of stuff. This doesn't really have a story, other than it looks way different than what it started out. It had like an old school musket muzzle on it at first. It didn't have the revolver chamber. It didn't even have a trigger, actually. When I finished it, I started showing it to a couple of colleagues, and they were like, yeah, it looks okay. Are you going to finish it? Maybe with the trigger? I'm like, shit, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes total sense. So, oddly enough, when I realized it needed a trigger, that's when the whole underbarrel and everything started to fall into place, because it just, I couldn't deal with it. But, adding in the parts that were absolutely necessary suggested a path and a story for the rest of it. So I've seen Nikki paint this up. I know, Tim, you've done a version of it too. I saw Nikki's is the only one I've seen in person, and it looked really great with the character she created.
Yeah, no, a very, very unique take and nice looking weapon. Definitely steampunkish, like it has that, that look.
You might see this show up somewhere else moving forward.
Yeah. And that's all he's going to give us, folks.
Secret. Insert secret.
What about this one here? This one's actually one of my favorites.
Well, if the dwarves are going to get a gun, then goblins need one too, right?
Or rat people.
Yes, yeah. And it's not going to be nearly as pretty or sophisticated, but it's going to get the job done. That was basically the idea behind this.
Yeah, this is gnarly looking.
Yeah, goblin trench warfare.
That's right. Yeah.
Look at those blades strapped to it. That's so cool.
Yeah, truly nice take on this too. It has this like primitive look to it, kind of like it's just been slapped together. It's really,
by
really
like
neat,
random parts, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you see that back thing's being held by
right.
bears over there.
Is there a coat hanger right there?
Yeah, right.
Some bed springs. I love it. Yeah, no, it's a great piece.
But another one of my favorites here.
Oh yeah.
So I just kind of wanted to show a little bit, of everything that you've done, Gordon, because I think it's a really nice, from weapons to little packs to like full on, backpack accessories like this, travel packs. I mean, this is a great concept too, something we don't, get too often. But, as Tim knows, I was a huge Toy Biz Lord of the Rings fan. So, whenever they had those little, Aragorn, especially with his little, like, pouches and all that stuff, I love that, all those accessories just to put on different figures.
I've got a whole drawer of that type of stuff, from that line in my fodder bin.
Yeah, it's great. So something like this is is right up my alley. So that would clip in. It looks like it has little like a clip in the back that would just go on a belt and just loop on the back of the figure?
It was that was the original intention. There was also a version of this that had
The straps.
extended straps that would clip onto a shield.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little more fragile, I think, in the printing process. Not only fragile, but laying out the supports for that kind of the straps coming off of it on a completely different angle and being strong enough to support its weight afterwards. That was problematic, I think, in the design. So we went with a little more
See.
compact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Plus,
Great
this way
stuff.
we could punch a hole in the back and hollow it out, which made it a little more cost effective as well.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. This is a nice piece too here.
This one was fun to do. I think this one turned out a little thinner than it should have been. I don't know if I think I may have come across comments like that in the past, but this was a fun one to do. This I was playing with patterns different tools that I'd never used before in the software. Yeah.
This was really nice when that more flexible resin was available, and we printed it out in that flexible resin. That thing was so nice. So yeah, this is another one. I feel kind of biased because I uploaded a lot of the pieces that I liked, and I have, especially this one coming up next here. This is probably my favorite.
Oh, this is another one of those goblin thrown together scrap pieces. That was exactly the idea, Tim, that you said before. I was just thinking, they had all these leftover parts at their forge. They just slap that stuff together and send out another foot soldier, right?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I was a big Diablo fan, so to me, this is something you'd find in like the Den of Evil, like as your level 3, like leveling up in the plane.
Damn, it's only a level 3 shield. Lame.
No, it's great. No, it's truly great. And last but not least, a very popular piece, the
Taco pouch.
The taco pouch. Another
yeah,
nice little piece. And that design, Gordon, the flower design on there too. Tell us a little bit about that. Now, do you bring that up real close and you're putting it in, or how exactly did you go about getting that in there?
You give me way too much credit. I'm not that good. They're like, you'll see the textures and stuff. I use a lot of what are referred to as alphas. They're like black and white pictures. Pictures I'll take of like I carry my phone with me everywhere, like everybody does. They have their cell phone, so I photograph floor mats, broken concrete, and I can convert it into black and white photos, and that gives you anything that's white in the photo comes up out of the model, anything that's black gets sunk down into it.
Wow.
So it's a bit of a shortcut, I guess, for more talented people. That's probably what they'd call it. So with these flowers, they came in a license pack that I bought for actually wood carving.
Okay, I see.
So I converted it to alpha, and then I brought it into ZBrush, and was able to utilize it in that fashion, and then tweak it however I needed to afterwards, right?
Right, of course.
Because nothing's ever perfect. So
Mm-hmm.
you can have all the intentions you want, but the tool is still going to need some personal touch to it to make it look anywhere halfway decent.
Well, this looks great. Great pieces here. So yeah, and again, guys, check out the vault. Go on the website. You can see way more of Gordon's awesome work there, and everybody else's stuff too. So, but we talked about some 3D pieces. What people might not know is how you've worked on some of the intro stuff for us too. So our waiting music, I guess you could say, intro, our Creators Crucibles content, all that stuff you created as well. So tell us a little bit about that. What?
Wait, can you just play the ending of Creators Crucible for everybody so they can get it?
Yep,
this is what is beautiful about Gordon.
Yes. So let's change settings here real quick.
Yeah, indeed.
Let's blast off into space.
It's just the ending, and this.
Now this is all Gordon, right? This is
yeah. This is Rob's little head pops up. I love it. I absolutely love it.
So tell us a little bit about, where'd you get some inspiration to do some of that stuff for us?
Well, for that one, I think it's clear that I was drawing on Tim's love of Pro. So we've got the
just a
glaive,
bit, just a bit.
just a little bit, but you can't use the glaive, right?
I've never heard of it.
That's actually one of Kevin's sculpts that I modified and painted and changed the material in ZBrush to look like the glaive. So thank you, Kevin. And then, well, Tim provided the pictures, and I specifically asked for the sombrero version of Rob. So that was necessary.
Rob in all his glory.
Absolutely. His disproving look.
Oh, man.
Well, I'll say this. I'll speak for myself. I absolutely love the new Creator Crucible opening.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you for all of the work that you do. That's so behind the curtains, really. There's a ton, people. He does so much. And yeah, I'm glad that Stell had him on tonight because, I mean, I personally love Gordon, but
yeah, right.
I love you guys too.
We all love us a little Gordon.
Yeah. But his creations and the little things that he does, you can't replicate that. You can't even ask for it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know what to ask for. I would have never said, "Can I get a little Rob head that pops up?"
Well, the intro was awesome because I told Tim I'd work on it. I'd love to work on it because it was something I'd never done before. So why not try something, potentially throw myself off the cliff? I have no idea what I'm doing. And I didn't know what to do, how to do it. And you said heavy metal, and it was just like, perfect. That's it.
Well, and to be fair, I ask so much of you. I really do, and I do apologize of that. But I'm constantly like, it's like Gordon's like, yeah, I'll do an opening. It's just something simple, right? And I'm like, I want this, and I want big explosions, and this coming in, and then he's just like, okay, I've never done that, so I'll see what I can come up with. I just disregard like all, I just go, well, he's good enough. I know he can do it.
Yeah. Gordon, notice how he apologized. He didn't say he was going to ask less of you. He was just saying,
never.
Sorry. But yeah.
Nope. In fact, I've got a few favors when we get in the backstage. So
I have a couple of ideas too. I was thinking, yes, definitely more. But that's the perfect ask. That's the perfect project. Something I've never done before. Something I have no idea how to do. So why not learn something new? It took, once I figured out the workflow, it was done within a day or two. But it took like 2 weeks to figure out how the hell am I going to do it? Because there's, again, if you know how to do it, you just go straight through, right? But like I was like, can I use this software to do it? And I said, well, that's going to be all two-dimensional. I don't know how to do 2D animation. I don't want to draw 24 frames per second for 42 seconds. It's like, it would take me 5 years to learn how to do that in a convincing manner. So it's like, okay, that's obviously not the path. So I stuck with my strengths. Anything you see in that is like the MAFC logo itself. That's sculpted. That's 3D. I did that in ZBrush. And then I brought it into Blender and learned how to animate. Again, this is why I kept returning to Blender, because I can work with the 3D model. I don't need to convert to 2D. I don't need to go to Adobe After Effects. And, anything I looked at in Adobe Premiere, it was all two-dimensional. Like, you can burn stuff or you can have it fly in, but it's just 2D. So you couldn't get that panning shot where it's also rotating. That was the key thing that I had to figure out how to rotate and pan. So Blender gave me the opportunity to set keyframes, like beginning and start, and it does everything else for you. Lighting, I had to do a little bit of work with the lighting, because when it was coming in originally, it was all black. I couldn't figure out why, because it's full of shadow, because the lights are back here, but the thing is coming in from over here. So I had to figure out how to do that. So it was fun. It was a really cool project, but introduced me to a new skill set, and so it brought me, I have a couple more ideas I want to work on there.
Well, thank you again. Seriously, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And it's awesome too to see, how you've used all these other softwares kind of how you know what software to use for what, purpose you're trying to achieve too. Because, as we were trying to set up for today, we realized that, software is very crucial. You got to pick the right stuff, because it can be quite frustrating.
It also illustrated the point that sometimes when you figure out how stuff works, you still don't know how you did it, but it
Yeah,
worked.
right.
So,
Right.
It's so true.
part of the process.
Very true. So,
Those happy accidents.
we love them.
Yeah.
We love them because, like you said, we just learn from it. Like we just, keep pushing.
Yeah.
So, but with that, you've done work with that, which is great. Another thing that people might not be aware of is the box art that we got with our Wave 1 Lemurians and are going to be getting with Wave 2, Wave 3. So,
Let me
tell us a
correct
little
you
bit
on
about,
that.
yeah, right.
First off, let's say Tony Mitty did the box art. He did the crests.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he's the mastermind behind that. With regards to the boxes, the packaging, I'm more of a curator rather than primary, secondary, even tertiary creator. I think because like Tony did the crests, and that's like when
Right.
Rob finally decided he was going for this really kind of prestige, mature format for the packaging. Because I threw a bunch of really silly kind of stuff you'd see on a peg 25 years ago because I was just brainstorming, and he's like, no, he liked it. He liked some of the ideas, but it wasn't when he said, we're going to go nice, sleek black, and we're going to feature Tony's, and it's like, oh, I understand what you're doing. Okay, that makes so much sense. So once that decision was made, then Tony stuff was in the forefront. I added a couple of story elements with the back panel with the planet, like the actual crucible.
Yeah, exactly.
And
See,
the inside of the flap with the scroll.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that blew me away. Look, no discredit to the crests because I absolutely love them.
Right.
But I mean, you took something that was already amazing and then you made it even better. And the Shadow Slate box.
All right.
Holy shit. That was so beautiful, man.
That's a happy accident. That's pressing the wrong button and getting a different color you weren't expecting. That's just you just go slow enough that when they show up that you recognize it. That's all the advice I can ever give, because most of the good ideas are accidents, in my experience.
Well, they're definitely working for you.
I think it worked. I've got it.
Yeah, I was gonna comment on that. I love how you have those stacked like that. That's really
my new acquisition came in. Thank you, Doug Dolnick.
Indeed,
yeah, that thing is wicked.
Again, I don't know if he's still making them, but I'm telling you, people, you really should get one, especially if you have the coins. And even if you're missing some coins, you can still get them at the conventions. So,
exactly.
But yeah, definitely pick up one of those. But yeah, do you have the picture of the Wave 1 packaging?
Yes, I do.
Because I believe so that pretty much stayed the same, right, Gordon? I know you made some changes to the packaging. This was like the early sample, if you remember.
Right.
Right. So let's look at the back. If you can get to that one still.
Did it come up?
Yeah. See?
Yeah, so there's a lot more color on the back now. The star field in the back is very similar to the star field that you're using right now on the stream. So it's got the blues and the purples. Those nebulas there's much more color. The planet has much more color. There's gray tones plus the reddish sand tone. So this original one lacked any of that. So
but see, I loved it. I think it looks so cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. I obviously love the final, but man, when I saw this, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it.
The packaging, it's an aspect of design and the toy industry that really didn't know about. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into it, obviously, as in any part of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
this scroll here, this is another example of
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
me leaning on my, like, the scroll is actually sculpted. That's in ZBrush. That exists in 3D.
Oh
And
wow.
I've
Wow.
rendered it out to be this 2D image because I wouldn't be able to draw this. So it was, the idea for this actually came out. I was in a staff meeting, horrible staff meeting, and I was just sketching as always because I looking busy, and sent Rob a picture of it after the meeting, and he said, "Yep, that looks cool. We should try and do something with that." So that's how that worked its way in. But these packages went through so many iterations, mostly with size. So
Yeah.
when we finally decided on size of the box, like the dimensions, then we had to figure out how long the panels are going to be to fold over, because you need to accommodate for the amount of card that's actually going to make that 180-degree turn for the fold,
Mhm.
so on and
See,
so forth. You need
and you
space to
did
put the
all that.
cabinet.
Yeah. Don't
It,
shortchange yourself because that's amazing. It
well, it
really
went
is.
back and forth. And here's the thing: we had it perfect, and then you put the Lemurian in with its huge long snout, and the box is too shallow. And we're like, God damn it! So,
Mhm.
you know, once they created the plastic tray and dropped it in and said it's we need to change the box again. So I was like, oh, that's cool. But at that
Mhm.
point, the workflow, I pretty much ironed out the workflow. So it was changeable pretty quickly, and I was able to incorporate that into, because the packaging for Wave 2 and Wave 3 is pretty much 90% done already
Mhm.
from what we
Mhm.
learned with Wave 1. There's going to be changes that are specific to the wave. But Wave 1, 2, and 3, and I think Rob and I talked about this a little bit, they're all part of the Kickstarter launch for the Crucible. So it's
Right.
I think of it as all kind of like I don't know, it's one wave to me, but it's three different stories
Yeah.
within that.
Right. Yeah,
So
kind of broken up. Yeah.
there's going to be similarities that carry themes that carry all the way through, like Tony's crest work, like the box design, but there's going to be little things that are specific to, the barbarians. They're going to have their own kind of twist of the narrative that is going to be reflected in the package. Same thing with the Piranoids. So there's consistency throughout, so it'll maintain this kind of display theme,
Mhm.
but each one will be distinct unto itself too. So it's
Yeah, of course. I
Gordon.
know.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, no. Please continue.
Oh, I was just gonna ask Gordon. Did you have any say as far as how the packaging had the window, like for the characters, the name characters?
um, that was
I
a
mean, was that brought up to you? Like, was it like, did you have a say? Like, did you want to do a window? Would you prefer it as like the slates are, or it's just like um,
well, they all have windows. It's just
I
whether or
mean,
not
I
they're
should say
flat.
the card. Yeah,
Yeah.
the card.
So it's the named characters. Right off the bat, Rob was like, the named characters had to be special. That has to be something different than the others. So they had the cover flap,
Right.
and that was part of the redesign too. Because when I did the borders around the plastic of when you open it up and it's just a standard border,
Hmm.
we had to make sure that the borders were wide enough that the glue would stick to the plastic window on the inside. So um, early versions, two sides of the four would stick, the other two wouldn't. So we had to make sure, all of that had to be modified in the back and forth. That was no problem.
Wow.
But because on the slates and the Savage, there's no folder, so there's no way to brand the Savage Crucible logo. They had to have that additional trapezoid down on the bottom so we could put the
Uh-huh.
brand on it. But other than that, the dimensions are the same.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Real
So
nice.
what I was going to say earlier was I know there's been a lot of people that have asked about Wave 2 packaging for Warrior with ball and chain. So if you've gone to the conventions, then you've definitely seen a sample sitting on the table. Uh,
Is
I,
was that a hint that Stell to bring it up? Is there a picture?
there is a picture.
There is.
Stell can bring it up if he wants. I was getting to it's probably my favorite packaging.
Oh, it's almost a sin to like bust this open and like
Mhm.
you know, like it just looks too good. You know, wow, yeah, this is just
This is
excellent. The packaging is
this is all
great.
Frank Frazetta, right? Like
Yeah,
we didn't even
and
want to we didn't even want to be I don't want to label it, but there's no brand on the front of this either, right?
exactly. There
It's
Mhm.
shouldn't be.
it's
There
Frazetta.
shouldn't be.
It stands
Absolutely
Perfect.
perfectly
Exactly.
on its own. Nothing else needs to be said.
nothing. I absolutely love it.
And the
And you can see
font,
Okay.
it just being wrapped around. I mean, you know,
Mhm.
it's just
like the typeface is the same, but there's a little more texture added to it for like the Barbarian. This back, it's like Frazetta's background is carried all the way through. Like you said, Tim, it carries all the way across
Mm.
the
mhm.
binding, the spines, all the way to the back. And the top of, I think the bottom is just a solid color, but it's got his beautiful paint strokes all the way through.
The opening is interesting. Yeah, that one. That's very interesting.
So here you
So
get a look at the scroll. If you're paying attention, you'll notice that it's similar, but there are differences between this and the Lemurian. So the Barbarian scroll rollers are different than the
mhm.
serpentine loops that the Lemurians and Saurians used. So this is again, I sculpted this in ZBrush, did the render, and then did some paint edits in Photoshop to give it that effect.
I mean, look at
Yeah,
those skulls, man. That's so
man.
great.
I think the coolest aspect and something that's very different is, you know, what's inside the
That
box.
that insert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's no
Um,
map. You got it. Yeah.
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 There's no map,
Yeah.
but also, you know, what is it trying to show? You know, I'm trying to be, um, I guess you could say, you know, secretive about it. I don't want to give
Why?
too much away for the fans. I
Why?
don't know if
Everybody
you guys,
knows
you know,
what that is. They know
but
what
if,
it is.
you know,
What is
I
it, Tim?
mean, the
It's a
diehards
portal.
do. Yeah.
That's Rubus's portal. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's beautiful.
and you know, I'll have Gordon explain. You know, how come it is that Warrior with Ball and Chain has that?
Well, he's a licensed figure, so he came from somebody else's brain. So,
Okay.
but as a character, he's been pulled through that portal to join the Crucible and join the battle.
Indeed.
Yes.
So,
So, you know, sticking true to the lore. You know, you know, because I'm just a sucker for stuff like that. You know, so I think it's, you know, plus I feel like it's a great piece to use, you know, for dios or for pictures and stuff.
Oh yeah,
That
the
portal, you
insert.
know,
Yeah,
yeah, that
absolutely.
insert
Yeah. Yeah.
is really nicely done too. So
now this is not. I want to say this isn't a final copy because
right,
No, this is
since
early samples.
yeah,
this is
very
early
early.
sample and the size has changed a lot. The height, width, and depth has all changed since then. So
Hmm.
some of the layout has changed as well to accommodate that. But the narrative through discussions I've had with Rob, some of the narrative might be changed. Some of the that kind of aspect. This
Yeah,
part obviously will never change.
right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I
Thank
believe
Christ.
Tim,
Yeah.
these are from PowerCon, correct?
Yeah, I was where they.
Yeah,
That's when they first
Early,
showed them.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So
Yeah,
this is from
last
PowerCon.
August,
So
I believe.
yeah, there will definitely will be some tweaks and stuff here and there.
Hmm. I
So
can't wait to see if anybody like. What are people really going to do with that insert? Like,
mhm,
if you're clever, I would imagine you could probably
right.
cut some really thin holes and make it appear as if your figure's coming out of it. I don't know. I
Who
guess we'll
knows? Yeah,
find out, right?
I,
I
I
really
think if you should buy 5 of these guys and then cut out layers of the portal so you can have like a three-dimensional like
yes.
shadow box portal going
Right,
on.
just space them out a
hmm.
little bit behind each other. Yeah, that would be really cool.
No, great stuff. So
Well,
um, yes, go ahead, Tim.
no, I was just going to go right back to the inserts real quick because I don't know if you guys saw or if everybody saw or nobody saw, but Doug actually took the map insert out for the Lemuria, and then made it look really dirty, and I just absolutely loved it. It was really clever to do something like that, and it
Hmm.
looked fantastic. Man, it looks so good.
The cartography that Rob had, and I'm ashamed to say I don't recall the guy's name, but if you go to the website savagecrucible.com, it's all there to see. So it's I'm going to be printing out some. I'm going to be rolling them up, and they're going to go into that Navigator kit
Oh,
when I get my Wave 2 stuff. Absolutely.
no,
Well,
it's
yeah, I believe Stell is actually trying to get that guy, I believe, for the map. So we'll see.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot
We're
of there's
trying
a
to get
lot
him
of
on and talk to him
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Um,
people that are involved with a lot of things
yeah.
with Savage Crucible, and unfortunately, but fortunately, we're all just very busy. So we do our best to try to get everyone on at some point.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know we still want to get Brian CP Steele on because he
Yeah.
did the stats for the cards.
Earth is
So
Day. Excellent.
yeah, and
Excellent.
that's a guy that you really want to talk to, especially if you like D&D and you like the cards, because
Mhm.
he did such a great job with those. So yeah, just patience, but we're doing our best.
Yes, of course.
Time is our enemy for sure.
Oh man, yeah. I always say I wish I could have another 24 hours in the day. That'd be great.
That'd be dangerous.
That probably would be dangerous. Yeah, I'd be working way too much, and still only sleeping 8 hours or less.
If you're lucky, that's
You get
luxurious.
8 hours? Wow.
No, I'm lucky if I get 6. But
That's sleeping that's sleeping in.
yeah, right. Well, since we're kind of on the topic of Frazetta, I can ask this of Gordon. We were kind of talking on the last show with Rob. He was asking us, what would be something we would like to see from Frazetta's work done in figure form. So I'll pose that question to you. What would be something you would like to see?
Everything, but if I had to choose, and I'm not gonna think about whether or not it would fit with the Crucible in its current form or future form, but I'm just gonna
Okay.
go with what I like for Zeta. I love his John Carter stuff. So Princess of Mars, Swords of Mars, 2 of those paintings are awesome. But
Mm.
when you had Kevin on last time, he said the Flesh Eaters, and that never even occurred to me. And I went and I took a closer look at that. It's a brilliant painting. So I think to add to that kind of monster, I'd like to see the Neanderthals, where
Mhm.
those
Yeah,
5 or 6
definitely.
are kind of creeping out of the mist. I would love to see Kevin or Nick's take on those.
Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? I'll army build those like crazy.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with the Flesh Eaters. I think that's,
No, that was my vote.
it's great.
I
Yeah.
was so happy when Kevin said that. I was like,
Yeah, right.
let's hope,
And touching on that as well, Gordon, what are some inspirations now as far as Frazetta, growing up? What were some of the people that you drew inspiration from, that helped you with your work and what you do?
Well, I followed a lot of artists, comic book wise, but like John Byrne.
Mm.
I am a Rob Liefeld fan. His work on Hawk and Dove, the miniseries, like I'd never really followed him into Youngblood or anything, but I loved
Yeah.
the Hawk and Dove miniseries, and then
Mhm.
the monthly series that came out after that, which he wasn't on. But like I'm a kid from that era, like 80s, 90s comic books. So
Oh
McGuire,
yeah.
Ray Fogel, DC Marvel. I don't think
Bernie Wrightson.
yeah, I don't think my work really resembles any of the like George Perez, like all of these masters, right? Like Joe Jusko. It's
Man,
they just
dropping names here.
I think they just made me consider different ways of approaching things. Like you see all these guys doing all these things in completely different ways. So I never tried to be any of them because it's impossible. So, but
Mhm.
it did keep that creative. Like I've always tried to stay creative, and whether it was in one medium or another. I spent a lot of time not even doing sculpture or anything in music. I was in a band for like 2 decades. So although weirdly enough, graphic design came into album designs and show posters. So I guess I was kind of doing that stuff. So, but after that, I got into role playing and the Palladium books. I never got into D&D. I played Advanced D&D for a little bit, and I died very early on in the Underdark, I think, with the drone.
You can hang in the Underdark, man.
I died the first session. Like, it just didn't work out. So I think the game master had it in for me. So, but I hooked up with a bunch of other guys. We went into Palladium. He was a little more forgiving. But the Palladium books, I collect those now. Long, the artwork Long did, and Kevin Simbita, I think that's his name, how you pronounce it. Those books are, I look at them like art books. They're not role-playing game books to me. Like, they're just beautiful.
Mhm.
I have a stack of them under my desk I go to regularly.
That actually, and I don't know if you ever had any experience with it, Gordon. That was Magic the Gathering for me. I mean, I played the game too back in the day, but I always loved getting the cards just to admire like all the different artwork on it.
Stell's one of those kids that had the Black Lotus card in his
Yes.
spokes. A 70,000 card.
Yep.
I had so many of these. We used them as coasters.
Yeah, it bent. Oh, I'll just grab another.
Mhm.
I actually found my deck the other day. It's up on my desk over there. So,
Was there a Black Lotus in it?
Unfortunately, no.
That's too bad.
I have Rith the Awakener.
Yeah.
And Karn Silver Golem.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear. What are some practices, Gordon, that you have changed or advanced from when you started to now with sculpting, with anything that you're kind of working in?
That's an excellent question. That assumes I know what I'm doing.
Again, trying to give you more credit here. Come on.
Just roll with it.
Yeah.
So I embrace the non-traditional, and I don't even know if it's non-traditional, but I jump, like you've noted before, I jump around from one program to the next. So I don't make that a goal to use multiple programs, but I stay where I'm comfortable and I do what I can do in that, and then I move to the next one. One thing I've noticed in the last 2 or 3 years, and I've always tried to shy away from it because my sketches look horrible, but I need to do a 2D sketch to figure it out first before I go to the software, because it will always change. When it gets into 3D, it always changes. But if I don't have a plan when I go in, then I spend hours and days doing useless stuff, and it goes nowhere, and it turns out, and it adds to frustration, and it makes the project that much harder. So as much as I don't like looking at my own sketches, I need to go through pages and pages just to kind of Photoshop it, but just build out some, at least know where angles are going to be, lengths, how many layers do I think are going to be needed to make this structure. That's why I love Rubus' stuff, because his stuff is just so clearly it's there, and it's just begging to be a toy.
Right.
And like the details are all there, all the major themes are there, but there's always room to add in your own twist. Like, you can't necessarily see what's under the strap, or you can't see what's between the straps because there's a shadow, so you got to fill that in yourself. And it's there, and it's begging to be made, but it's also begging you to kind of put your own little twist to it. So that's why I love that. It's already ready made. It's you just need to finish it essentially in the 3D world. So I try and keep that in mind, and cobble my own stuff together before going in, because I spin my wheels way too much.
Well, it's great because from hearing from what you said, from the programs that you use to the artists that you were listing, and how you never try to copy anyone. It's clear to see that you draw inspiration from all these things, and you just kind of lay it down on the canvas, and what comes out is what we've seen. So that's great. I mean, that's a great thing, to see somebody be able to achieve. So and with that, I would love to show some of the things that you have in Wave 2 that are in the character packs. I'd love to show some of that stuff off too. So
I love this pack. Yeah,
we're not flipping anybody off. It's just the fingers are like that.
Is that for me? What did I do?
No, please. So we have the navigator set, or I guess you can call it that. That's all the way in the left-hand side there.
Yes, and
above the mug.
above the mug.
so it's a sextant set. It's got a compass, it's got a sextant, and it's got those 2 tubes for holding maps. And if anybody is paying close attention, it's changed ever so slightly from the photos or the images that were in the Kickstarter. The original sculpt, those 2 tubes were hollow. The short one had a bottom. The long one was actually hollow all the way through, or maybe the other way around. So it was designed basically so you could put your own maps in there. But that was not, after talking to Dave and Dave educating me on reality and physics. That's not possible to do with the steel mold. We'll just shear that thing to pieces. So those have been solidified, and I added maps to the tops of both of them so that it was all one solid piece.
Mm-hmm.
And but I still intend to, when I get them, I'm going to cut those off. I'm going to hollow them out, and I'm going to put
Get to drilling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
I want to put little maps in there too. That's so wicked, man.
Mm-hmm.
that's
great.
The paint they did on it. I wasn't sure how that was going to be for the factory, but the factory has always blew my mind. The paint on all the metallic parts that are strapped down for the compass and sextant, that it just looks great.
Yeah, Alex Wu is incredible for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Which we really want to get those guys on the show too. So
yeah, well,
they're just a little busy, you know.
A little busy running a factory.
Just a little busy. You guys want to show or you want your figures, all right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
But let's hop on the other side of the picture here. That the rune sword that's on the other end over there, which truly this picture does not do it justice, because the patina work on there. And also the runes that you added on there, Gordon, too.
Well, that's all from the concept. That's a Rubus concept. He actually, then you're going to see them probably in the next picture if I'm anticipating this correctly. He did like a barbarian group of weapons in a single concept drawing. I don't know how many years ago now, but there you go. There's the other two on the far right, the thorn club and the spear. That was. And the shield, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So those three,
which the blood effects on that are excellent.
Yeah,
just letting you know.
The spiky, the thorn. Well, I consider them to be thorns because it's not manufactured. In my mind, that's organic. It's grown that way and harvested. So
right.
But that was, I think, a little problematic with the number of spikes and the angle, but. Dave, again, with all his wisdom, suggested, we separate the handle and make so it's actually 2 pieces, and then now the handle plugs up into it, so they manufacture it in 2 separate pieces. And so that I'm glad it turned out. I'm glad it turned out as well as it did by the look of it.
Oh yeah,
and
excellent stuff.
I did the rope.
The rope. I was going to say the grappling hook, which I believe Rob said that is 2 to 3 pieces itself. That's a couple of pieces too. Yeah,
that's me causing more problems for Dave. Yeah, I wasn't, and that's part of the learning process. When I sculpted it, I wasn't thinking about the manufacturing of it, so I had a lot of undercuts, like negative spaces where ropes were leaving these spaces between one loop and the next loop, and not really understanding what's going on with the steel process at the point when I was actually making it. So I made some edits to it. I went back again with Dave's edits. I don't know where he finds the time to do all the work he does, but he gave us pictures with this, and this, if we could change it this way and this way and this way. So it was modified, but I guess it turned out that even with those being corrected, to have it look just right, it still needed multiple pieces. So the hook is probably separate from the rope. But it is. Like the skulls that hang from the Wave 1 were the skulls that hang from the belt. They came in multiple pieces.
Right.
Glue, it'll just be seamless. And above that, of course, is the infamous head hook.
Oh, yeah.
That thing is... Oof.
Is that the most anticipated piece? It is for me.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, we need to just have just a hook next, Gordon.
Yeah, I saw that on the stream. Yeah, that's on the to-do list.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, Gordon, man, we won't keep you on here. We've been on here for about an hour, a little past an hour here. So Great stuff. I mean, I could talk to you all night. I'm sure
Yeah, no
Tim,
kidding.
you know, you know,
Have
and
video
everybody in the
coverage.
comments too that has been with us this whole time. Thank you guys.
Thank you, folks.
Didn't really have too many questions, so it seems like a lot of
Can you
people are just
take that
kinda
off the screen?
painting. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't want to. I don't want to put it away.
He
I
doesn't
love
drink,
it.
just so you guys know.
No, I'm like this sober.
This is yes, this is Stell in his finest state.
Yep. No pressure whatsoever. Do everything. Be professional still. Yeah. But yeah, Gordon, thank you. Tim, thank you again,
Thank you,
brother,
guys.
for
No,
being on here.
always.
Thank you,
guys
everybody who showed
watching.
up tonight too. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, indeed.
definitely.
And the future viewers as well. Thank you. We
Mhm.
know that everybody can't always make a live show. So
Absolutely.
thank you. Yeah.
And with that, guys, again, if you're in the
Nice
ooh, almost
catch.
lost- yeah, you see that?
Oh,
If you're in
I
the
did.
Dallas area, definitely check out the show this weekend and stay
I did.
up to date on the site to see what other shows are coming up. And then
Facebook,
next week,
Instagram.
Facebook, the website, savagecrucible.com. And then next week, me and Tim will have something special for you guys too. So stay tuned for that as well.
Yeah, we're gonna be painting live, so we're still waiting to see if you guys would rather
Yeah.
do it at night live or hopefully a Saturday
see,
morning
yeah.
live.
We'll try and make a post on the Facebook group too and see.
Indeed.
Remind everybody and see. And with that, everybody,
Stay savage.
stay
Thank you.
savage and have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend. Thank you. Gordon, thank you again, buddy.
Thank you again,
Thank you,
Gordon.
guys.